Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. In 2016, Donald Trump represented hope. He was the magical messiah. He was the towering businessman who could accomplish anything. He was the outsider who could fulfill all the wishes of those who voted for him, especially the hopes of white males who hadn't gotten past high school, his biggest base of supporters. That base, white males with only a high school education, was suffering something intolerable. It was losing its status, losing its sense of superiority. It was being driven to the bottom of the pecking order, to the bottom of the American status hierarchy, by the rise of blacks and minorities, including by the rise of educated blacks, like Barack Obama. That's why the award of a Nobel Peace Prize to Obama was intolerable to those undereducated whites and to Donald J. Trump. Their only sense of superiority had come from being superior to blacks. Now at least one black had become superior to them. Today, President Donald Trump no longer offers a blank check on hope. He has a track record as president, which means it's now easier to see which of his promises are real and which are not. So why do his die-hard fans continue to be so rabid? Because how you see President Trump's track record and what he can offer in the next 4 years depends on which tribe you belong to. The Trump haters or the Trump worshipers. To the Trump admirers, this nation is under attack. Under attack from radical Democrats and under attack from liberals who have perpetrated a hoax to remove Donald Trump from office. That hoax is the COVID virus. And according to many Trump supporters, radical Democrats are using that hoax to train American citizens in totalitarianism by getting us to imprison ourselves in our homes and by getting us to wear masks, the mark of our subservience to a new world order. What's more, according to many Trump followers, liberals and radical Democrats have shut down the American economy, allegedly to save us from COVID, but in reality to pull off a coup against a duly elected president. That president is their dear leader, Donald Trump. Then there's the real issue at hand, the bombshell hidden beneath the basement, the issue of the status of high school educated white males. Trump puts out dog whistles on a regular basis, assuring the white working class that he will never let them sink below blacks and minorities. Trump's attempt to discredit and undo everything that an uppity, Harvard-educated black named Barack Obama ever put in place is one way of lifting his base. But there's more. Politics is permission to hate. And Donald Trump has given his followers permission to hate the so-called coastal elites who collaborated in the civil rights movement, the coastal elites who favor immigrants, the coastal elites who now talk of multiculturalism, and the coastal elites who have helped blacks rise. Prominent in those coastal elites are folk who over the ages have made convenient targets for downtrodden groups that need to feel superior to someone. Jews. So there is no way the undereducated whites with status problems are going to let Donald Trump go. To them, his track record is rock solid. He has made a downtrodden white minority feel superior again. That's the reality of what Trump calls making America great again, making America's white lower class feel great again, by making them feel superior to blacks. So no matter what Trump's track record looks like to Democrats, the undereducated male whites and many of their women will lap up every Trump lie and cling to it eagerly, knowing that it's their ticket to a sense of superiority. That's how this election looks to Trump's hardcore. On the other hand, Democrats like me believe that Donald Trump has committed negligent homicide, mass murder. His incompetence and refusal to lead have killed close to 250,000 Americans, the greatest COVID death toll of any nation on earth, higher than the number of Americans who die from the common flu, auto accidents, household accidents, and murder combined. And we Trump haters believe that America has the most abysmal COVID leadership track record of any nation on earth, even worse than the COVID leadership of the so-called shithole African nations that Donald Trump despises. To repeat a fact that you've heard before from me, America has had more COVID deaths than England, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain combined. That's slovenly, lethal leadership. All of that leaves the question of the undecided, the people in between the Trump lovers and the Trump haters. Which way are they likely to lean? The remarkable thing is that in this election, we have one of the smallest pools of undecided voters in our history. 2 weeks ago, an NBC News Wall Street Journal poll put the figure at a mere 6%. One CNN poll had a much lower estimate, 3%. And the Washington Post says the pool of undecided voters may be smaller than it has ever been at this point in a presidential campaign. Why so few undecideds? Because America has been tribalized. It has been polarized. Either you love Trump or you loathe him. There is almost no in between. But Bill Barrow, a national politics reporter for the Associated Press, thinks there are still undecided voters to be had. He admits that the electorate is so hardened that it is, as he says, baked in. But he declares that there are still two groups in play. Group one, he says, is the disaffected voters who dislike the Washington establishment and hate a wealthy elite. That's the high school educated whites who have a gut-deep need to feel superior to blacks. And I believe this Associated Press reporter is wrong. That group is not in play. It belongs to Donald Trump. Barrow's group number two is the young progressives who voted for Jill Stein in 2016 and who think that Joe Biden will not go far enough in establishing government programs like Medicaid for all. And they indeed may be pried away from Biden, but they will not go to Donald Trump. What's more, the window to win over the undecideds is closing fast. For one thing, union workers appear to be changing their minds and moving from Trump to Biden. In 2016, only 27% of the International Association of Firefighters union members voted for Hillary Clinton. But this year, internal union polling shows that a whopping 58% are leaning toward Biden, only 37% are leaning toward Trump. But this could be a delusion. It's what the firefighters dare to tell their union. 4 years ago, secret Trump lovers often did not tell poll takers the truth. Meanwhile, an astonishing 55 million people have already voted. That's almost half of the total number of those who voted in 2016. In other words, nearly a half of the 2020 vote is now in, and the vote count as of a few days ago was heavily Democratic. 10 million early voters were registered Democrats, half of that, a pathetic 5 million, were registered Republicans, and almost as many folks with no party affiliation had voted, 4 million. So presumably the early vote was going to Joe Biden. But that's because Democrats believe there is a COVID pandemic and are avoiding the plague by voting by mail, which means that Democrats are voting by mail in record numbers. Trump supporters, on the other hand, don't believe the coronavirus is real. They don't believe in lockdowns and social distancing. So they are waiting to go to the polls in person on November 3rd. What's more, both the Democratic and Republican parties have been methodically registering new voters for the last 4 years, voters who have never voted before. Surprisingly, the Republicans in some areas have registered almost twice as many new voters as the Democrats. For months now, Joe Biden has been ahead of Donald Trump in the polls by 10%. But the votes of the newly registered, the votes of those without a party affiliation, and the votes of the undecided could give a final victory to Donald Trump. And so could Trump's secret ace in the hole, a white sense of superiority to blacks. a silent racism. This is Howard Bloom speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make, or want to know why? Ask how. And now for that sleazy, slimy, slippery, almost impossible to find little off button. I think I've got it.